Hey there, folks. This is Sean Hale with Nonprofit CFOs, and I'm here with one of our team members, Candace, who has tons and tons of audit experience. And she's here to help you understand a little bit better today how your nonprofit can set itself up better for a cleaner and less painful audit. Candace, thank you for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
So tell us about the balance sheet reconciliation. What's going on with that? How is that going to help, thinking about that, help a nonprofit get into a better place with their audit?
Balance sheet reconciliations are kind of a basic necessity that a lot of people overlook or they just get too busy. And that's where so much, I'm going to call it accounting trash, can sometimes get hidden. And everyone's got to take out the trash at some point. And this is a way to do that and make sure that you know exactly what's on your balance sheet, that nothing's overstated, understated, and it's just something that we have to do. Sometimes people think, oh, well, I've got all of my cash statements reconciled, all my bank accounts are reconciled, I'm done, right?
No,
No, no,
not just the
no,
cash, the bank accounts.
no.
What else do they need to do?
Prepaid expenses, accrued expenses, fixed assets, even going through and making sure that you've understood everything that's on your balance sheet, going account by account. Did we miss anything? Have we included everything we should? Perhaps these things have been paid and we're still accruing for
Okay,
them, overstating it.
would the credit cards go on there as well, reconciling
Definitely,
those?
definitely.
Okay,
Credit card
okay.
expenses.
And so what happens if an organization just doesn't get around to it, right? And then the audit starts, and if they haven't gotten around to it, like, is this really a big deal? Where does the pain come in?
It can be a very big deal. Believe it or not, this is, especially in the accrued expenses area, that's where there's a significant amount of fraud that's sometimes found when that
Okay.
hasn't been done, when it hasn't been cleaned up, and it affects the income statements, especially if those prepaid expenses haven't been recognized and released and properly accounted for.
So the organization and maybe the board thinks that, oh, we ended the year with like a profit of whatever, and then once that gets cleaned up, they're in for an unhappy surprise.
Sometimes it can be,
Okay.
yes.
And if an organization has kicked the can down the road, they've been busy, right? It's not like they were eating bonbons and kicking down the road, but they just got delayed and delayed, and they didn't touch the balance sheet recs for the whole year. Can the auditors come in and like make that all good?
Uh, they probably could, but it would not be cheap. That would be a very, very expensive use. But you don't have to do every account every month. And I think that's one of the
Okay.
biggest misconceptions
Okay.
is you can do a risk rating and identify on 6 to 8 different variables what the most important accounts are. And maybe those are the ones you want to make sure you definitely reconcile every month. Others may only need every quarter, every 4 months, every 6 months, or some of them could probably go by annually.
Okay. And so like definitely the checking account, check that, do that monthly, maybe the credit cards, but something
Yes.
with low activity, not a big balance, like petty cash. If petty cash only ever has $100 in it, maybe you can get away with letting that go to once a year.
Mm-hmm.
But
Exactly.
do it early January. Don't wait till the auditors come in the room, kind of deal.
Correct.
Can delaying this thing, can that cause delays in the audit then if that does get kicked down the road?
It can
Um,
cause major delays in the audit if they've got to go back and redo everything, and then you've got to open up those accounting periods. It's really something you need to get done before you finalize and close the accounting period,
okay,
way
okay,
before the audit ever gets started.
very good. What else should a nonprofit know about their balance sheet reconciliation so they can keep the pain low, keep their risk low, and otherwise look forward to a happy and clean audit?
Addressing those reconciling items within a quick time frame. If you have a reconciling item on that balance sheet reconciliation, getting it resolved within 30 days is fantastic. It doesn't necessarily have to be done before you close the books, but before the next close would be ideal.
Okay. And I suppose it's okay for your bookkeeper to just do the reconciliations, do all that, and then we're good.
Having a second set of eyes review it and make sure that it is exactly where it needs to be and accurate is highly recommended. Highly
How come?
recommended. Well, if I have, that's a basic segregation of duties. If I get to be the one to reconcile and I'm the one processing those transactions, I may not want to see my mistakes, or I may not even know it is a mistake when I've made it.
Okay, so sometimes it protects against laziness. It protects against just, it's good to have another set of eyes. And I think I might also be hearing it's a fraud prevention measure
Yes.
because if nobody's watching the hen house, then the fox is going to be able to get away with mischief for maybe the whole year before another set of eyes go in and say, oh, this isn't right.
Exactly, exactly. One fraud case that comes to mind is MCI took a significant number of expenses and put them on their financial statements, their balance sheet as fixed assets. And it was a
Okay.
huge audit exposure. They had to go back in and restate it again. MCI, different world, but it
Yeah.
was still, they weren't doing the balance sheet reconciliations properly. And this is one of the things that was caught.
And so, kids, for those of you born in the 21st century, MCI was a big telecommunications company, kind of like AT&T. They don't exist anymore, and this
Yes.
little fraud thing may have been a contributing factor to all of that. Um, yeah, we had good times with MCI back in the 90s and the 80s. Okay, very good, very good. Well, Candace, thank you very much for sharing these great tips with folks. And folks, we will hopefully get another tip out to you very soon so you can have a clean and pleasant audit. Bye-bye.